All right, getting started with episode 1 of Casual Gaming, where we are going to talk about gaming in a casual manner. So I welcome Retz, a.k.a. Cabraham, Jay, the illest, Dodgeball, Mr. Fingers, Mr. Moonraiser. We're all getting really together to talk about gaming because, I mean, it's just been such a huge part of our life, and I was the one that rounded up all these yahoos to get this thing going, and really just, casually chat about, what gaming's been to us growing up through our lives, how it's progressed, and really just bring it through the eyes of the millennial gamer. I think we're of the age group that really saw from the start when gaming in general started to get extremely popular and mainstream, right? I mean, I think like, when was the first Atari? In the 70s, but really I don't think gaming had really progressed from the arcade to the console until like the late 80s, early 90s. So really, I mean, we're of the older millennial age group, and we've really seen it progress to where it has become now. I mean, it's a multi-billion dollar industry. There's leagues now that are substantiated by huge purses, drive a ton of audience. There's a game
college scholarships.
College scholarships now.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking like Big Ten, Big Ten having leagues.
I mean, it's just insane. So I just thought it would be fun to bring a bunch of really good personalities together that all grew up in gaming with one another. Jay's my cousin, and Ryan Dodge are my two best buddies. But we've all had instances where we've just gamed basically ever since we've known each other. It's the one true bond that has brought us all together. So some of the things that we're going to be doing in the podcast is going to be just talking about just random shit, that as it relates to gaming. Going to try and bring on some guests to go in depth on some really cool topics. We know a couple of people in the industry, but also that have some side hustles and side gigs that are pretty interesting, and I think will make for some good interviews. So
I'm excited for the first guest too. I am excited. It's going to be a cool kind of unique look into OG gaming if you really think about it.
All right, so let's just go around the room real quick. We'll get a quick just quick background, not too long, 5 sentences maybe. So we'll start with Rye, top left.
So yeah, my name's Ryan. My gamer tag Cabraham 2055. Unique. There's really no unique story behind that other than I was flinned out, thought I was putting my old Xbox gamer tag in, which was no deal.
No deal.
And I used Cabraham 2055 as my password for everything, and I thought I was putting in the password, but I was putting in the new gamer tag, and I was stuck with it. So that's my terrible story as to why my gamer tag is that.
Are you stuck with it though?
I don't know. Well, I'm sure I can change it, but the amount of trophies and gamer score. I mean, people challenged me. People would challenge me. Friends would challenge me to trophy races, and
you can't let it go when you've got all those. When you've got everything
it's
tied
hard
to that gamer tag.
But I'm pretty sure. I'm sure I could change it if I want to, and maybe I will. Maybe that'll be like something we can do on this show at some point, is come up with a new name for me, because I would be fine with that. I'm not sold on my name by any means. But yeah, I've been playing video game. I'm more of the type of gamer that likes to play with my friends. That's really my drive and why I do it. The challenge is fun at times. There's some challenging games. It's a good time, but overall, it's just the experience with the friends, especially as we've moved across the nation from each other. Some of my high school memories aren't going to parties. They're hanging out with a core group of people and having fun playing different games and giving each other hard times when we're losing. And wouldn't trade that for the world.
Awesome. Good deal. All right, Dodgeball, the man of several gamer tags. Break it down for us.
Yeah, actually is true. Yeah. Well, my current one, Moonraiser 707. and that's just that's a creation from a story a friend of mine we wrote together. But yeah, it's a nickname within the story. But hopefully more to come about that someday.
Ooh,
I love it.
titillating.
Moonrazer 707 right now currently. Yeah, I've had some other ones. Actually can't recall now. Well, Mr. Fingers on Xbox, that's what it was. Yeah.
It really started with Halo, right, Dodge? The amount of we would do the LAN parties. We could change those names up all the time.
Yeah, and that name I'd rather not say, but
yeah, you're fine.
That's fine. We don't know our audience yet, so
we're way too classy for that, aren't we?
Yeah. All right.
But you got Grundle first.
There it is. We got to talk about that. All right, good. So, yeah, Dodge, a.k.a. Moonrazer 707, top right corner. All right, right next to me in my box, Jaybird.
Jaybird, a.k.a. the illest. Very short and simple. Started with gaming Halo at LAN parties, and that's what got me hooked to competitiveness in multiplayer. Then I got an Xbox 360. Got Xbox Live, got one of those free little goodie coupons when you bought a game, you get 2 months free.
Yeah, I remember
Logged in. And the illest. Want to be the illest Halo player. Halo 2.
It's like a play on like the sickest gamer, but illest. How'd that kind of...
There's a couple plays on it, actually. I mean, I can spin it a couple. Homage. Because you can be like the illest, illest, like in slang means really good, like sick, nasty, So you could be the illest, you know what I mean? But I was also from Illinois, and Illinois' first 3 letters are ILL. So the ill state, it could be the ill state because it's spelled ILLST. So there's a couple plays on it.
All right, good.
But it's because I'm nasty at COD multiplayer Modern Warfare. That's really why. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So Rubik's Cube, Ryan. My story on mine, I got really, this was hysterical. Jay was with me. It was Christmas time. I think I had just gotten the Xbox 360, got an Xbox Live card, right? Because that's what you needed to get at the, that you had to buy. Or I don't know if you could buy it through the internet quite right when the 360 came out. Anyway, regardless, I was putting it in. It was right after Christmas. I was setting up my name, and my mom got Jay a Rubik's Cube for Christmas, and he had it right next to him trying to fuck around with it, trying to mess with it. And I was trying to come up with a gamer tag, and I went, well, I guess that's what my name's going to be, spelled with an X, because the actual Rubik's Cube is actually spelled very different than how I spell it. So nothing too shabby there, but that's kind of the history on it right there, and I've stuck with it ever since. It's actually Rubik's Cube 129, and the 129, it actually used to be 131 when I used to race motocross. That was my number, and then I got screwed over one year because somebody took my number before me. Don't know how that happened, because I finished it further ahead in the points, and so I was allotted to pick my number first. Somehow someone took it from me, so therefore it was 129. So extremely exhilarating story, I know. All right, so for the first episode, like we said, this is just a teaser episode to kind of bring on our next guest, or an actual guest, I should say, for an actual episode for the next one. We'll get to that in a little bit. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about on this intro episode is your earliest memory of picking up the sticks or picking up a controller video game. We'll start with Rye.
Yes, so for me, NES and original Game Boy were the first 2 things that I gamed. I remember NES, there were really just a couple games that I fell in love with. First one, Super Mario Brothers 3. That was always a good time. I mean, classic right there. Tecmo Super Bowl. I'm a big sports fan, so those two games were kind of my staples. I had the original Game Boy, and I played Tetris. Castlevania was on there, and a couple other ones. And I also remember it was kind of funny. My mom picked up the Game Boy and she would play Tetris. She was a big Tetris fan. So I would always try to like beat her scores or her high scores and things like that, which made it fun. You know, that the earliest memory of gaming was really playing Tecmo Super Bowl and getting that blister on your left thumb from the D-pad being so. Hey, I mean, you'd get a blister and then you'd have to go on the IR for a couple of days. You couldn't play, and it was crazy. But I loved it. I had fun. I would make my own schedules, my own seasons. I would keep track of little stats here and there, and really kind of progressed from there.
That's awesome. Tecmo Super Bowl, baby.
Yeah, there it is right there. Original Tecmo Super Bowl. Now, I know that one is a common one, and Bo Jackson was like broken in that game. You can basically run around. But as a kid, you know, it was just cool playing as your favorite team. I was a Bears fan, so it just was fun. I loved it. Would spend a lot of time playing that.
And so again, I guess to kind of set the scene here, I mean, I think all of you are 34 now. I'm 33. Rye lives in Arizona, Dodge lives in Texas, and Jaybird lives in California, and I live in the good old state of Alabama. But just to get perspective on, you know, what type of millennial we are, we're on the older side of it. So dodgeball, earliest memory of gaming.
Earliest memory of gaming, definitely Super Nintendo, or not Super Nintendo, regular NES, sorry. But a lot of fun playing like Mario, basic games. I mean, the regular games, you know, Mario, Zelda. I do remember trying Gauntlet at one point. Those types of games I found very confusing at that time. I couldn't like really handle it quite yet. But obviously amazing games. Football, it was just a football game. I do remember also playing Tecmo football, but yeah, it was just like football, like base standard. RBI baseball, I remember playing quite a bit. Yeah,
that was a good one. I mean, I even remember Dodge. Did you guys ever play the little handheld ones that took the?
Yeah, if there was just like one button and the directional, and it was like
yeah. There's a couple basketball ones that I remember playing. Those were fun.
Oh yeah,
like
for sure.
For traveling and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this would have been pre Game Boy then?
No, it was just like.
I mean, it was just like stuff they had out at the time. Just like you know those mini game type things. I mean, that's what. Yeah. There was also some old school ones like it was like a digital pad, but like the football field was like just there, kind of. I think. But like dots would come up and you would kind of just play the dots or something. Yeah. I don't quite remember how that.
They were just like handheld. It was almost like
handheld, like just little weird games.
The basketball game I would play, the player could only go. There was 3 spots on the bottom, then there was 1 in the middle, and then there were 3 spots on top. And those are the only positions that the player could go to. And the ball would just would skip across the screen real slowly, and then would hit the basket.
Oh,
and they would make,
I know exactly what you're talking
noise.
about now. Yes, I know exactly.
It was just the screen was like right here, and you had your little. There was 2 buttons.
Yep, I do remember that absolutely. All right, good.
Very good. Duck Hunt. I was a big Duck Hunt player too.
Okay.
I did have the gun. I had the gun. I had a pad for my Mario game was Mario, Duck Hunt, and a third I don't want to say Olympics game, but maybe Olympics. It was some kind of competition, like field, you know, like track and field type competition stuff. Oh yeah.
Okay, so big into sports. Regular NES is kind of what you recall as your first experience into gaming.
Yeah.
All right, good. Jaybird, aka the illest. It's your first earliest memory of gaming.
Well, the earliest one is short. It's very specific. My dad was a gamer because he had the Atari 2600, and I found it when I was little, chilling. And I don't remember I think I remember loading up Space Invaders and remembering what it looked like on the screen. But I definitely remember the cover of the game. And that was definitely the game I played.
Let's check it out.
Right there.
Oh my gosh. On the 2600.
So that was my first game I ever played for sure on the old 2600.
Was that
And
the
that's
model
all
right
I
there that you
remember.
had right there? That's up on screen right now.
Yeah,
Or your
that's the
dad had?
one right there. Yeah, I remember that controller with that little red button, and I remember the Space Invaders game box. And I do, now that I see these on like screenshots of the game, I do remember seeing it. But that one memory. That's it. That's all I have of the Atari.
See, but that was back in the
All you
time
have.
too. That was
Yeah.
back in the time too, Jay, where those colors on those pictures are definitely not the colors that you saw from the TVs that we used to game on. Those
Yeah.
old late 80s TVs that were basically from the 70s, and they just had the coax cord and
Yeah.
so yeah, looking at that, those colors were definitely not accurate.
No, those are definitely
Right.
high resolution photos that were taken in the
Yeah.
the later 21st century. All right, good. Yeah, my first
Yeah.
like my first experience or earliest memory gaming, like I don't even remember. It was definitely Super Nintendo was like the first one that I remember playing, and I remember playing Mortal Kombat, and I think I got it for Christmas at one point, but I don't even remember asking my parents for a system. But that would have been my first time, or first earliest memory was Christmas morning, waking up, opening up a Super Nintendo, and first game that I ever played on it was Mortal Kombat. And then I also, that same Christmas, received the Super Nintendo Super Scope. If you remember that freaking big, it was gray, and it was a scope. It was like ultimate. It was like Duck Hunt, but just like having a huge like Bazooka Joe on your shoulder.
Ultimate
just
Duck
getting
Hunt.
ready. Yeah, it's like ultimate Duck Hunt. Jay Bird's got it pulled up here, I bet, right here. There it is. That's exactly right. And that's the game I had right there, the one that was
The Super
red.
Scope 6 one. Super Scope 6 was the game you had.
That's the game I had, because I think it came with the actual the unit.
Yeah, this one.
See,
You
it's funny
definitely
to look
had
at that stuff because, I mean, with the technology at that time, there's no way that all that thing is basically the same controller we were playing with, just in a completely different form. It was probably essentially the same kind of wiring and everything, just in a different format.
Well, here's the funny thing.
Look at that guy playing.
Look at that guy having a good time right there.
You could aim it though, like you had to aim those shots.
See, I don't know. I remember that thing. I don't think I never had one though.
I
But
don't
sure.
think I ever played a single game. I used it as like playing guns outside with my neighbor friends and just playing. I don't ever remember actually playing and like actually hooking it up and playing at the time. I used to run outside. We used to play cops and robbers with it, and then it wound up breaking. And that last little photo that you saw without the scope and the accessory features on it, they were all broken off because I was throwing it around.
I got down on some guns outside too.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Playing cops and robbers,
yeah.
capture the flag. So that's what that thing got used for, and not, I didn't actually use it for what it was actually intended to be used for. So, but yeah, I mean, that was my earliest, was getting that for Christmas, and then definitely doing Mortal Kombat. Obviously Super Mario that came with it, I think, as well when I first got it. So not anything, anything crazy. Nothing
I remember
like the Atari.
Any of you ever play RoboCop, the RoboCop game? Man, I remember playing that. That was a cool one.
Oh my God, it came out September 11th. Shh, don't talk about it.
Don't talk about it. What do we got here, Jaber?
Well, it came out in 77, so I was born in 86. So, I mean, that
What
thing was
came out
already
in
for
77?
10 years.
The Atari 2600.
Yeah, the Atari. I'm sharing the
Okay.
screen. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
So I was like at least 4 or 5 or 6, probably somewhere in there. So that was 91, 92. So it had already been out, 15 years by then.
It's crazy because I think we can all relate to this. I mean, early gaming also for me was arcade games, going to the arcade. I mean, we had arcades in Rockford. I remember Nickel World, all those things. I mean, we would going to the mall. I remember going to the McChesney Park Mall and spending time in the arcades. I mean, arcade games
Department
were
stores for me.
What's that?
Department stores, even for me.
Yeah.
You guys remember going to like a Target or a Kmart and there's like whatever. I think I played a Judge Dredd game that way or something.
Probably. I mean, I remember, I mean, going to bars with my dad and stuff, and yeah, we played pool and darts, but man, get on the arcade games. Were awesome. That monster truck game, I can't remember what it was, off-road something, but that was, you know, had the pedal, everything on the steering wheel.
Oh yeah,
good times.
Oh yeah, and they like you had to run around a track. It was like multiple people that you were playing with. And absolutely.
So I think that's kind of a good kind of segue into the first guest that we're going to have, because I think that's a unique part of gaming, and that's a part of gaming that we're probably never going to see again, because you look at you go to malls now and you have stores that are strictly set up for LAN gaming, but I mean that kind of of arcade games is no more.
And you don't think so? You think we'll live in a world in the not so distant future where arcades are just gone? I
think that with no, I mean
but let's talk about where it's at right now, right? To your point, Dodge, I don't think they'll ever go away. They're just being transformed to cater to our age group, right? Now you can go to bars that are all video games that are serving beer, and they're catering legit, to the millennials, right? The people that grew up with them, or even maybe a little bit older than that. But total mainstream are probably going away. I would agree with that. Definitely.
You're not gonna go to an arcade place and play a game that you're playing on PlayStation right now.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah.
That's done. Like those games are, I mean, they're just, first off, they're too large. I mean, it would be ridiculous. I mean, unless they figured out a way to do that where you could quickly log on and play a quick game, at the arcade. But yeah, I don't know. Our first guest is well spoken in that field. And I think that's a unique part of our upbringing was the arcade world. I mean, there's a level of nostalgia just being at the arcade that many generations after us will not know what that feeling is like.
Well, and again, we can just get into it right now. I mean, the guest that's going to be coming up that we're going to get on here is a friend of all of ours, and his name's Nick Naruse, and he has an extensive background into the arcade world, specifically with pinball machines. I haven't done my research on him too much to know specific details on Nick and his venture into pinball machines, but I do know we're going to be able to get into a lot of really cool stories. Real quick. I mean, this guy, we all had a stint at his house at some point playing, whether it be Halo LAN games or just going over there to hang out, just a game. And his house was always littered with pinball machines up and down. I think
you're gonna be pretty pleased at what he knows about. I mean, it's cool. I've talked to him quite a bit about it. I would go over to his house. I've known Nick the longest out of all of us. I've known him since we were in kindergarten. And we would go over there as kids, and I would watch him and his dad work on old pinball machines from the 50s, 60s, and explain the moving parts, the working parts, the insides of the game, and things that I never really even thought about as I played those types of games, and how arcade games were built. And it's a lot of good information, and I'm excited to hear what he has to say about it.
All right, good.
So good old Big Nick. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Good old Big Nick. Oh, a little inside information there. But yeah, I mean, I think it'll be good. So yeah, I mean, I think, we're going to keep these things to 20 to 30 minutes, maybe sometimes longer when we get a guest on and we're able to ask questions, and, we'll be able to get into to some things that hopefully are relatable to basically everybody that's our age, in our age range, that are just casually gaming. It amazes me why, again, kind of circling back to why I want to do this. It's funny to look at, our parents, and just, they never had anything like this growing up, right? Like the things that we can relate to our parents growing up. Like, yes, we shared like sports with them. Like we could go out and play sports and do that. There's a lot of things that, you know, we grew up like how our parents grew up and what some of the same things that they did growing up, but something that the older generation doesn't have that our generation really, I would say, is where it started with. And everyone younger than us, gaming is such a staple in everybody's lives. And so I'm excited to kind of dive into that. And again, bring on some people to discuss that as well, get into some board games, not just video games. So, you know, just we'll see how far we can take this and just kind of, you know, if anything, it's just going to be fun chatting with you, you Jamokes, every once in a while and talking about video games. So y'all have anything else to add?
No, I mean, I just want to say, go Illini. No, I brought up how I got into gaming because I loved hanging out with my friends and hanging out with you guys and chatting about these things and old times and memories. You know, that's one of our favorite things to do. Yeah, good times, noodle salad.
Good times, noodle salad. All right, so tune in next time when we have Nick DeRuz on, and we're going to talk all things pinball. So it should be a good episode. So should we come up with some sign off?
Oh no.
You better take 2, Peter.